Alter ego EX here, as in example, exchange, experience, and of course, striving for excellence. Anyway, we got a video from the Breakfast Club. You've seen it about this Indian candidate who, I'm not going to mess up the pronunciation of his name, but he's a Republican running for president. But anyway, the Breakfast Club did a horrible job of interviewing. Man, if this is how you blacks get your information, or if you take this as a serious venue to know who's running for president, yeah, you're done. And probably explains why you get the results that you get. So anyway, this is courtesy of the Carter family, I believe that's right, and because their expressions and what they say I agree with, and it's just hilarious. So let's check this out.
Absolutely not been involved in civics. One, not voting. And two, let me just ask, because I know you mentioned earlier you don't want to sit around at the debate and talk about accomplishments. Let's make the accomplishments pretty simple. In high school, were you ever a class president or take any leadership role? Because your opponent did, Chris Christie. He was the class president. So have you ever taken any leadership at all on anything?
Have you ever been a class president? Because Chris Christie, I don't even like Chris Christie, but Chris Christie, he was a class president in high school. High school, where there's teachers and administrators and stuff like that. That is where you're going to set the bar first. We're going to keep it really simple. You should see her attitude, this attitude that she has. Like she's like having such thought-provoking and strong questions. She said even, I'm going to keep it really simple. Yeah, because you're a simp, as in a simpleton. Along with Charlemagne the God and DJ Envy. Also a bunch of simps, simpletons, and strags. This is about the black vote. And you blacks are in trouble. Let us continue.
Born in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's right.
Right. So you've been here your entire life. So the question is, did you take any leadership role in middle school, high school, class president? Tennis. What is it? Explain it to us.
Student council. But I think that this is yes, I've held leadership roles over my life, but those don't qualify me to do what I'm doing now.
No, it kind of does. Okay, it kind of does. Well, I'm giving the test. I'm the test administrator.
All right, there you go.
So it kind of does, because when you go from saying I want to go to the highest office,
and I'll tell you, I've led companies as well. Is the other leader? Right, the main leadership role I played is, and I want to talk about one early part of your premise that I also want to say, bring it to the country point. The other point, you use the word sitting around. I'm not somebody who's saying I want the next generation, my kids' generation, to have more civic duties when they graduate from high school and college than I did when I did. That being said, I wasn't sitting around. I've developed medicines, 5 of which are FDA-approved products today, one of which is a life-saving therapy in kids, 20 of whom die by the age of 3 if they're not treated, 70% of whom now live lives of a normal duration, another one for prostate cancer. So I don't apologize for making contributions. But
well, I don't want you to filibuster that because that's not the question that I asked. And I don't consider, as a veteran, I'm talking about service. I'm not talking about what you did for profit. I'm not talking about what you paid people to do with your company. I'm not talking about
I've not served the country
because that means nothing to me.
What I'm talking, what I ask a question. She's been trying to ask a question, and you've been talking over.
I'm all ears.
We gave you the platform to let you say.
I'm all ears. I'm all ears. No, I was just correcting a couple facts.
She hasn't had a chance to ask a question yet. Every time she tried to ask a question, you've been cutting her off. Good.
I'm all ears.
What? Look, somebody found a new word, filibuster. And they're also going to use another $20 term called moot point, because they've looked up a couple of words when they were in the Air Force. Maybe they found it when they were in junior high or high school, This is your representation. And the thing that makes it, once again, hilarious is it's done by a black woman. A strag. She's a strag. I don't care about her military service and things like that. And the reason why I say I don't care is because she acts like she didn't get a check either, and the accomplishments do not compare at all. Just because you went to the military, yes, that's a very important job for any nation, whatsoever to defend and protect and to be trained. But then you go versus the private sector, especially something that's saving people's lives. They're just not in real estate making money. No. This is actually making the world a better place. And she doesn't care about that. These are your representatives, you blacks. And I don't know what to tell you. This is a reason why you're going to be a permanent underclass. You. And I don't see it changing. It is going to get worse. There's no saving it. The numbers are too swayed too much. Like DJ Envy, Charlamagne God, and her, and all the other twerking, and that's this much of the black population. I can't even talk. Right? So much of the black population. Then you got this little sliver of middle class. Then you got that 1% way over here. That's the kind of like the elite blacks and stuff like that. Well, the ones that are middle class, they don't want to be like them. They're trying to get up over there, but yeah, that's which I'm a part of. We are slowly going away from that. That is a separate culture. That is separate values. That are separate morals, and it's time for the great divide. Let us continue.
And you're saying you want people to believe in country and you want people to have civic engagement. And sir, I just find it very telling that you haven't had any civic engagement at all and haven't been at all. And when I say sit around, I don't mean you haven't done anything. I'm talking about in regards to service. Because one thing about political office, the same way that you want to change how people look at politics and look at this country, I want to change how people look at politicians. And when I see that someone hasn't did anything at all to be of service to mankind, to take a leadership role. It's not good enough to just be on city student council. Were you a leader? All of that applies. Have you been able to get anybody in the room at any time, from a high school gymnasium to Ohio, Republican leadership there, to now? Have you been able to get anybody in a room to believe in this vision? I don't agree with a lot of your vision statement, but I do know you've been going around having these discussions and getting everybody emotionally worked up to talk about vision and debate. But I want to get to the point.
Are we done, man? We done, man.
Hold on.
We done, man. As a race, we done.
Hold on.
I'm pissed.
All right, slow your roll, brother.
This shit's insane. This shit is insane. Brother, the Carter family, I feel you, because it is insane. And that's just what I said too. It's over. It is over. And I got so many videos lined up, but I do work. I do these things. I'm not saying I'm perfect or I have a perfect life, but I will say you this. I have a happy life. I've been married for over 15 years. I've traveled the world, and for the most part made a lot of good decisions mostly throughout my life, and all of those different things, and don't live in the hood, never been robbed, and all this other shit, because I do not put myself in those particular situations. Sometimes the situations do find me. I have stories about that as well, because, let's be real, I had to come from somewhere to get to where I am now. Let's just be real about that. But yeah, young brother, we done. Those blacks are done. Those are not your people. That is not. There's a divide. Chris Rock said it best. There are black people and there are niggas. Well, you know what? I think at this point, the numbers are too much, and it's not going away. Between black women having complete autonomy of doing anything, they can shout. There's so many things they can get away with. Let's just say it that way. The list is long, and they're put into authoritative positions. They're praised. I mean, look at movies putting black women in powerful positions, like in superhero movies, supernatural movies, sci-fi movies. Like, for example, Star Wars with the black character who survived a lightsaber through her chest or whatever bullshit. An apprentice, I guess, to even Darth Vader. Whatever, right? You can say all the black women in Marvel, with woke Wakanda forever and all the other stuff coming from there. And even something like Sandman, which is supernatural. I know I'm kind of going off tangent, but I'm just telling you, between that, black women in politics, they're dating, they say they have the most education out of any women. They go to school more than their black men and stuff like this. On and on and on. And they can shout and scream and twerk and shake their nasty ass juice all over the screen. Just... And you're supposed to lick it and taste it. You got and even the ones that are smart are like senators doing it or approving it. Kamala Harris is approving of it. You got a senator twerking. Then you got older women who've been doing how Stella got her groove back way before black men started traveling over. You guys were doing it first, And then you got all these other movies like The Color Purple, #2, The Electric Boogaloo, about to come out, right? Color Purple 2, The Electric Boogaloo. Now, with more man-hating beatings and incestual rape. Then you have this representative right here, showing how utterly stupid she is. And this is why the Republicans are going to win. You don't know how many black men. It's undercover. Black men are just going to, out of spite, just want to see the shit burn to the ground, to the concrete ground. They'd rather see that shit destroyed than to let you get your way. So you can forget about it. I mean, they might not say it openly, or they might just flat out lie to you, but the Republican base, it might not be Trump, it might be this guy right here. There's a huge switch going on. There's a huge switch going on. And the divide needs to come quicker. And let's be real here. I think at this point, the term black is them. They've co-opted it. Because, of course, nigga is not accepted. So you can't say that they're niggas, even though they are. But niggatum and all the wretchedness has just enveloped all of black culture to where now we just need to have a separate name, separate division, just like how the word there's Asian, but then there's other Asians below it, right? There's white people and then there's different white people. At this case, there's black people and there's different black people, because that is not my culture, and that is certainly not somebody I would put on to interview a presidential candidate, excuse me. Let's do this last little part and then I'll wrap it up.
Vision and everything else. I think you both the millions of dollars that you make. So let's just throw it out. So in sixth grade, I'll give you an example. I'll help you out. In sixth grade, Miss Harris.
Shut your ass up about sixth grade.
I'll give you an example because maybe you're confused. In the sixth grade, Miss Harris was snatching papers from everybody in the classroom. So me as a 10-year-old, I went to the principal and said, I'm tired of Miss Harris snatching papers. And I organized the students around getting Miss Harris to stop snatching papers.
Let go. You didn't let me get my moment, so I want to say my name is Cartier and I'm graduating today. I don't like how you snatched the mic out of my hand, so today is going to be all about me.
Oh. Now, there was a consequence for that. I got suspended for 5 days for talking back, and I got in trouble, I got a spanking, and I was on punishment for months and months. But that is a simple way of organizing people. So you did the millions of dollars and said what you did with the drug,
Did you see that shit? Did you see that? Did you see that? Oh my God. That's just a little example. I hate her condescending. She really thinks she's intelligent. She thinks she's really, this dude went to Harvard. And she thinks she's trying to get a gotcha moment. I gotcha, by saying, let me help you out since you seem to be confused. No, you seem to be confused because if you're going to give an example of man, there's so much to unwrap here. So let's tear this shit apart, which anybody can do. I mean, a 15-year-old can tear apart what she just did, but you know, me being over 45, let's do this. Yeah, old man here. She says, I organized the kids because I didn't like the way Mrs. Harris put her name out there on blast, by the way. I didn't like the way she snatched the papers out of my hand. So I went down to the principal and said, I don't like the way Mrs. Harris is snatching papers out of my hand. So I organized the students and we went down there. Once again, you black people, you and your emotions, too emotional. You always want emotional currency instead of what was on the goddamn paper. Let's ask that question, right? You watching this video, think about that. What's on that paper? Were there A's? Were there B's? Were there C's? I don't think there was even C's. I think we're thinking D's and F's. That's probably why your teacher was snatching papers, because she was tired of dealing with you dumbass kids. And I do mean dumbass kids, because you probably wanted to twerk, yes, at 10 and things like that. And you wanted to goof off. And none of you were serious about your future. And that's when you looked around and went, I can't get into even community college. I will go to the Air Force. Yes, I said it. I will go to the Air Force. And notice that she brought up 10-year-olds. I brought up 10-year-olds as a crowning achievement. Not even high school, which means you didn't do shit there. But once again, probably, you know, worried about your hair, your makeup, your outfit, and what dude is freaking on you. And then you went, oh my God, high school's over. Went to the Air Force and kept saying, I'm a veteran, I'm a veteran, I'm a veteran. But you know what? Even though you want to say that and you act like you're all high and mighty on that, you still got a paycheck as well. So don't act like you did it for free. You could have did it for free. You could have actually even given your whole check away to be in service of people. Did you join any organizations? You didn't name any because you're not a part of shit, right? You just want to tear down a man who, once again, is saving lives. Like, I could understand if he was just, like I said, making chemicals and things like that, or plastics or ceramics around the world, and he was a billionaire, you know, dealing with ores and metals and things like that, you know. But no. Your feeble brain doesn't comprehend that. So she is proud. Think about this, people. She is proud of being 10 years old and organizing a bunch of other 10 years olds to walk down to where the principal was about snatching papers. Versus what's on the paper, which were C's, D's, and F's. Lots of F's. Probably some zeros on there, which is F's, right? That's probably why. And then she said, oh, that's a really quick example of how people, notice she said people, they're 10-year-old kids with a teacher. And then she even said, yeah, I got in trouble. Once again, showing her defiant nature versus like, how come you didn't organize things when you were in high school or in the Air Force? Notice she didn't mention anything she did in the Air Force. Did she also rebel against orders from her commanding officer? My best friend is ex-military, so we can tell you straight up that is not, that's not something you want to do, whether they snatch it from you or not. But that shows you how low grade you black people are. This was a interview by the Breakfast Club, and this is what the questions they chose from DJ Envy, a DJ, and Charlemagne the God. If he's trying to be pro-black, why use the name Charlemagne, who I believe, I'm going by memory here, Charlemagne was one of the main factors of creating a European system. He's kind of like the godfather of Europe in a way. You know, like Charlemagne's a very interesting character, very dynamic character, knew how to rule and things like that. A lot of European countries used a lot of his systems and for their own. But look him up. Charlemagne is no joke. as far as a person of immense power. You know, you could even say the Emperor of Europe or something like that. You can look him up. But Charlemagne, the black guy who calls himself Charlemagne chose that character instead of a black character from history or somebody from America. Notice that? It's white. You don't see that as a problem? You don't see that as a problem? And you're trying to be all Democrat and pro-black and everything, and your name is literally European, not even American. European, like ancient European, like when it was like uber white, like Wonder Bread white, like white race white, like medieval, like... You know, okay, you get the point of me with the Charlemagne and DJ Envy. And then you got this new girl who I guess is supposed to replace Angela Yee with her condescending attitudes and her subpar questions. So I think they all got their GEDs. Maybe Charlemagne got a little bit more because he probably had to look him up in a book report or something, or found his name accidentally and went, hey, I want to name myself that, Charlemagne the God. So, yeah, man, if you're a young black man and you're listening to this, run for the suburbs. SYSBM, Save Yourself Black Man. I have, my best friend has, actually all my friends pretty much are, we're all in the United States. The crazy thing is, none of us are passport bros because we're all married. We've all been married, all of us. Bare minimum, let's see, 8, 10, I'm the longest. No, I'm not the longest. My best friend's the longest. All right, I'm 15, he's got to be like 22 years. So, about 22, I'm not going to give you the exact number. But let's just say, once again, over 15 years. So, maybe a little, 3 years more, 4 years more. That sort of thing. So, over 15 years, and then my other friend, he's about 9 years. No, he's 11 years. He's 11 years, so right behind me. My two closest friends, and then we got some other ones there. All SYSBM. Got 5 brothers, and none of them are married to a black woman. And not that you don't need to be married to a black woman, but it's extremely hard because you're dealing with shit like that. So anyway, I'm going to close this out. This is dealing with the black vote and the way you blacks have a program like the Breakfast Club that is supposed to inform you and have some kind of intellectual debate and have those hard-hitting questions, you know. Well, did you know, I'm waiting for DJ Envy. Well, did you know when I was in high school, I didn't like the way that someone was always pulling on my shirt whenever I was walking through. So what I decided to do is organize and say, hey man, you can't have teachers pulling on shirts. That shit offended me. I felt violated. So I organized all the brothers and sisters, like, no more teachers tugging on shirts. That's how you organize. Where were your grades? But I organized, and I could wiki. Oh, wait a minute. There's no more records. Algorithm, do the work for me. I'm a DJ. So, and then, you know, that's probably his story. So we're dealing with subpar people and you get subpar results. You blacks are in a world of hurt, especially if you're going to vote Democrat. Anyway, thanks for taking the time to check out Ultra Ego EX. You know what the EX stands for. Example, experiences, exchange, and of course, striving for excellence. Thanks again.